So apparently, AOC is eyeing a presidential run in 2028. I have been saying this. Everybody be ready for President AOC and be careful what tools you make here in this administration because the next person in power could be President AOC and she's going to use every single one of those tools that the right creates and she's going to use them against the right. Here is Fox News talking about her potential presidential run.
That AOC is eyeing a 2028 presidential run.
It's actually Axios.
Oh, Axios, sorry. Yes, next one is Politico when we talk about Pete Buttigieg. Yes, Axios. Some close allies believe that even if Ocasio-Cortez doesn't think she could win, she may want to run for the White House to ensure that the Democratic Party's progressive wing is represented in the primary, just as Sanders did in 2016 against Hillary Clinton.
Does she want to do that instead of running for Senate against the 74-year-old Chuck Schumer? She's speaking in different places across New York State, for example. You probably don't know this, but upstate is like Iowa. And she went up to Plattsburgh. It's like the last big town before Canada. And it's very conservative. And she gave a speech. She goes, I want to be able to speak to everyone in the state. Is she trying to see how her message resonates with people that don't subscribe to her, like Bernie Sanders and AOC when they do their tour around the country? Those people like her. Now she went to an area that doesn't necessarily vote for her. So that's the type of things you do if you're running for a higher office.
I think she's going to do it. I think she should do it. After all of the support from Mamdani in New York City, was able to take out Cuomo, a sitting mayor as well. I think she feels like she has the win in her cells. She is someone that is a good speaker out on the stump. She has all these young people that are gravitating. And New York City is not the full country. So I say, because in the article, they talk about two runs. Either she runs for president or runs for take that Senate seat.
I never thought in my lifetime we would see a progressive, a socialist win a race. When Bernie Sanders came out and said he was a socialist, I had heard my grandparents always talking about communism and socialism and how they were so against it. And then to see in our lifetime that this could actually happen. If you talk to anyone that came from another country, they know the dangers here. Right. They know that. I talked to one lady yesterday who had to escape her country from communism. Her parents had to walk through a tunnel and the train was coming over them. They had to lie down on top of their children. The dad had a little girl, the mom had a little girl, lie down on the train tracks. The train would go over them and they had to escape their country that way.
I mean, okay, it's a bit over the top for them to be like, oh, AOC is going to march communism into the United States. I don't think she's a communist. Do I think she's a democratic socialist? Yes. I do think that she has ideas that would bring us more in line with Europe and how Europe runs. And a lot of Americans would not like that. I'm not even sure if I would like that. Certainly Europe has just really high taxes. It's really, really high taxes. And I just don't think that Americans are going to go for that ultimately in the long run. But maybe many people in Europe have, certainly. And they continue to vote for it, even the people that are supposedly on the right in Europe. So I think that she's more in line with the democratic socialists of Europe, so not so much the communists. But I think the rhetoric that we're hearing on Fox News is what we would hear over and over. It would be an absolute freak out in the same way that people on the left freaked out to Donald Trump saying he was a fascist, a Nazi, that he was insane, that the country was just going to hell in a handbasket in 2016 when he won. I think we will see that same exact freak out coming from the right about AOC. And you might say, but it's different. It's warranted. It's different. It's warranted. Maybe, or maybe not. I mean, we do live in a democracy and presidents don't have pure power. They actually have to adhere to Congress. You have the power to vote for somebody different in Congress to balance it out. Just like I think that Republicans are probably going to lose in the midterms, this upcoming midterms. AOC could be really a president with absolutely no power if Republicans are holding Congress and she's sitting in the executive office. So, I mean, it's not, I don't think it would be the end of the world. I certainly don't like it. I don't like AOC. I do think that she has radical ideas that would hinder free speech, that would go after a lot of people, claiming them as terrorists. I think that she would have a firm, quite frankly, I think she would do a lot of the things that we're seeing the Trump administration do towards the left. She'd be doing the exact same things towards the right. And that's why I keep warning over and over that you should just, every tool Trump creates, every time he says, we're going to label Antifa as a terrorist organization, or we're going to crack down on these people, flip it, make it AOC, President AOC, but just flip the group into a group that you think she would be going after and then ask yourself if you're okay with it, because that's what it would be. When they make the tools, everybody gets to use them, left and right. Here's AOC. This is what I think people are going to be really frightened about. They're certainly going to be frightened about Medicare for all, Green New Deal. They're also going to be really frightened about taking the guns away. This is AOC talking about gun legislation after Charlie Kirk's assassination.
This is horrific. This is awful. And the assassination of Charlie Kirk risks an uncorking of political chaos. Are we going to do something, or are we going to argue over rhetoric? That is my question about this. We have to pass gun safety legislation and stop this.
I don't know what legislation she would pass in order to stop this in particular. Allegedly, the gun belonged to his grandfather, and the grandfather, I'm sure, is probably a law-abiding citizen and was absolutely entitled to have guns according to the Second Amendment, and sometimes family members get. I mean, what would you do? What would you do in this case to make things any different than how they turned out? Here's AOC in campaign mode, just wanting to show you that she really might actually be considering, she'd be a very young presidential candidate, but I think that momentum is on her side. I think that Democrats have lost, they don't know who their leadership is in the Democratic Party. They know that people are not feeling enthusiastic about the current leadership. There's, you've got Gavin Newsom. I think that head to head, AOC versus Gavin Newsom in the Democratic Party, AOC probably wins in that primary. So going into a primary, she has nothing to lose to go into a primary, a Democratic primary. And she has everything to gain, exactly like the Fox News co-hosts were talking about with Mamdani. She very well might be, and in my opinion, is the future of the Democratic Party, because they're looking for kind of the Donald Trump of the Republican Party, somebody with totally different ideas, outlandish ideas that are different than the establishment, different than what they've been given, and somebody with energy, somebody who can clap back and tweet, and AOC certainly can do all of that. But take a look at this. This is her in campaign mode.
Every single Republican at every level of government in the state of New York must be challenged, point blank, period. And they should not be challenged with old ideas, Plattsburgh. They need to be challenged fighting for health care as a human right for every American. Every single one. Don't give anyone an easy walk this year or next. I want Republicans running for dog catcher to be challenged next year. Every single one of them better be tied up, and let them know that we will not forget what they did. There are consequences to fighting and taking away people's health care. There are consequences to voting against a living wage. There are consequences to ripping up law-abiding, dutiful, undocumented people from their country. There are consequences. There are consequences for fighting against LGBT rights. There are consequences for taking away our right to choose. And they need to know it, not just from New York City, but from Plattsburgh and Hudson County and Utica and Buffalo and Rochester and in rural areas, suburban areas, and urban areas too. That is our task.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody else in the Democratic Party that can rile up a base like she can. I think she's in a good position to win the Democratic primary, and I think that depending on how the economy goes, could even be in a pretty good position to actually win against, who would it be on the Republican side, J.D. Vance in 2028, especially if the administration does a lot of things that are not popular, especially the continued endless wars. J.D. Vance might, of course, take a totally different stance on things than he does while he's in the Trump administration, but he'll always be tainted by the Trump administration, depending, or it's tainted or helped, depending on the direction that the Trump administration goes in. So, look, I mean, they're saying if she doesn't run for president, she's going to be running for Senate. She's going to try to maybe primary Chuck Schumer. She probably would win on that front as well. But I've been saying it. AOC, President AOC, everybody gear up, get ready. Make sure that whatever Trump creates, whatever tools he uses, all the, when you're sitting there cheering on all the executive orders he signs, when you're there cheering on going after terrorists, the people he labels as terrorists, when you're cheering on him censoring speech, just remember, President AOC gets those tools as well. Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iversen Show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. It is free for you to watch. Again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, KimIversonShow.com. See you there.